Welcome, everybody. Here we are in 2024 already. Everybody with me? All right. Hope everybody had a great holiday. And
Just moving out of the picture.
okay. Hope everybody had a great holiday and rang in the new year with friends and family and a sense of hopefulness. All right, 2 out of 3 is not bad. But of course, we should be hopeful. We have a big year in front of us and a lot of opportunities. I used to work for the Gannett Corporation, used to say opportunities were just a Gannett speak for problems. But the question is, will we take advantage of those opportunities or will we squander them? And pockets full of frustration, perceived deficiencies, negativity, and false narratives. Let's keep in mind, our opposition is weakened. They're weakened by overexuberance of their success at taking away women's rights to their own healthcare choices. They're weakened by gross overreach in the aftermath of that success that reduced women to a little more than chattel, and arguing that states have the legal right to track a woman's period or access her medical records if she travels to another state for a procedure. My husband can't even see my medical records. They're weakened by punishing women and medical professionals, even proposing the most extreme idea that women who get abortions should face the death penalty. It doesn't matter to me that a bill crazy as that has absolutely no chance of becoming law. What matters is the 24 state representatives who sponsored it thought it was a good idea, including upstate Representative David Vaughn from District 27. They're weakened by doing absolutely nothing to better conditions in this state or the country, unless you count the nonsensical culture wars as doing something. And they're weakened by inexplicably taking credit for Democratic successes that they have consistently voted against. By the way, I am not contagious. I do not have anything. I have had this cold for 19 days, and my doctor assures me that I am not contagious anymore. So please don't worry that I'm out here breathing over everybody. I lost my voice completely for about a week, and my husband was so happy. So my favorite example of this last thing, taking credit for Democratic successes, is just happened last Friday when Governor McMaster announced that he was proposing a $500 million investment in repairing the worst of the state's bridges. Of course, there wasn't any mention of the fact that that money was part of $4.9 billion in federal infrastructure funding, $1.9 billion of which is explicitly for the state's neglected bridges. So thank you, President Biden. But for many of us, hopefulness remains elusive. A recent article in the New Yorker, which was really interesting read, addressed the complex question of what do we call the era we are living in? Is it the terrible 20s? The new dark ages? Or my personal favorite, the age of disgruntlement? And yet, as women, all of us, several men are here today. That's fantastic to see. But as women, we are often called upon to suck it up. Personal issues on the back burner, work the problem, and make it all better. Here in South Carolina, we will lead the nation in kicking off this crucial election season. And not just as a calendar item. As the first in the nation Democratic primary, we will again, as we did in 2020, be the state that sets the tone, establishes the momentum for the rest of the country's Democrats. We must, and I cannot stress this enough, must show that Democrats are strongly behind President Biden, that we are excited about his candidacy, and that we understand that the importance of this election goes far beyond any policy disagreements. The president's outstanding address on Friday made it clear the stakes that are in front of us. We cannot wait for the states or the courts to take care of this existential crisis. We must do it. And we do it by voting like democracy, dependent on what happens on February 3rd, and spreading that word. The South Carolina Democratic Party has organized a statewide effort on this goal. We are fortunate to have several representatives from the SCDP with us today, led by Catherine Harvey, Chair of the Spartanburg County Democratic Party and Regional Director of the First in the Nation effort in South Carolina. And Catherine is going to fill us in on the program, what the SCDP needs from us. After Catherine's presentation, I will take 3 questions. Please put them in the form of a question, not a lengthy statement only, because we have a big program to get through today and I don't want to have to cut short the very fun open mic conversation. So Catherine, the floor is yours.
I'm gonna spare you a PowerPoint today, but I do want to acknowledge, since this is my first STEM, women's meeting in Greenville, that nothing makes me more excited than seeing a room like this. And we're working to build similar infrastructure in Spartanburg, but I'm standing here next to my sister chair, Amanda McDougall Scott. We've been working together for 2 years now, and the state party and our other chairs will tell you they have not seen more synergy in the upstate among parties than they have between Greenville and Spartanburg ever. And it's really starting to play itself out. So I just have to acknowledge that, because we will only move forward if women in the upstate are working together to move forward. I think we all understand that. And that comes from learning at a lunch, to running for office, to supporting one another, to add, we know how to do all of it and we do it well. And so it just makes me really excited to be here with you all today. So part of this is that we have an election in less than a month that is historic, and probably one of the most extraordinary times to be political in certainly in our state and certainly in the upstate. A lot of people are conflicted, right? And so they need to understand the merits of this particular primary, but they also need to understand how important it is to show up on February 3rd. And part of the efforts that myself and the other 5 regional directors are really championing for the next month or so are an incredibly succinct and strategic plan that the DNC and the state party has laid out. So we have people behind this, we have money behind this, we have communities behind this. I would argue, Amanda, it's probably one of the first statewide plans we've seen in a minute that we're all excited to execute on. And what that comes with is very targeted opportunities to reach voters, right? So in Greenville and Spartanburg and 12 other counties that I'm overseeing right now, we have 20,000 people in phone banking lists to call. Greenville alone has probably close to 4. I think Spartanburg has 3 as 2 of our larger counties. We have a roadmap to really start providing literature for folks that shares key early voting dates, absentee voting dates. The voter registration date for this primary has passed, but as you well know, for primaries, we're really going off after a targeted audience that has likely voted before, right? And that is what the state party and the DNC has really helped set up for us. So Amanda is going to have a lot of opportunities to talk about to get out the vote and really actually help us reach these volunteers more succinctly over the next 3 to 4 weeks. But one of the things we're most excited about is that we have a bus tour coming through the state. And part of that tour is going to be stopping in Spartanburg, but the energy of that tour, at the very least, is going to be kicking off in Greenville as part of the HBCU MLK weekend, this inaugural weekend that's happening starting this Friday, right? We're going to talk a little bit more about that, and we've got the here.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
That's what I was pulling up on my phone. Thanks. It's actually, yeah, it is this week. Oh my gosh, it felt like next week, but it's this week. Anyway, yes, we are the sponsor. We've split a sponsorship with SCDP and GCDP for the breakfast and the whole event with the HBCUs and for MLK. So let's see, we've got first on Friday, the 12th, the Legacy Breakfast at Unity Park. I know our very own Representative Chandra Dillard, who is here, is going to be one of the speakers at that event, or at least I saw it on the list. So we're gonna, whatever she is doing, if it's not speaking, we're gonna be there supporting her and everyone else. So the breakfast is at 8:30, and then the Unity Career and Wellness Expos at 11 at Bon Secours. And so we're going to need people to volunteer to man the tables at that event. We want to make sure that people see us and they know that the primary is coming on the 3rd, and that we really need to make sure that we show the whole country why we deserve to be first in the nation by making sure that we get people to the polls and showing up and voting on February 3rd. So
I'll say really quickly,
Go
that
ahead.
first tabling opportunity, they're anticipating over 500 students because it's a career fair. And we could not think of a better opportunity to have the GCDP and our allies there to really just start encouraging students to get involved. So that's probably one of the most exciting opportunities we've linked into.
Yep, so we need to make sure that everybody knows when the primary date is. Do y'all know?
No.
February 3rd. February 3rd. Let's say it together. February 3rd.
And that's a Saturday.
Right, that's a Saturday.
Well,
7 to
the whole
7.
day, right?
Yeah.
Your normal poll hours. But think about that, y'all. It's a Saturday. So people need to know we're early this year.
Yep.
It's on the weekend. There's a lot of information to get out. And more importantly, there's a lot of opportunity to help people get to the polls because it's not on a work day.
Correct.
So we're really starting to think about how we get all that messaging out.
And we are working on that together. We have some flyers with some information that'll be going out. We were perfecting it just last night to make sure people know about absentee ballots and all those kinds of things. So on Saturday, the 13th, there's gonna be a collegiate session at Bon Secours Wellness Arena. It says 12, that's 12 o'clock?
Starts at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, okay, 12 o'clock. And so we'll need volunteers for tables then for the same thing, making sure that all of those people who are showing up are gonna be showing up at the polls.
And this session, this is a basketball tournament, y'all. So you think about the people that we're going to be able to interact with that we do not normally have coming to our events, right? It's an audience that has a lot of visibility, probably for the first time with the local party, but really with engaging with anything about a primary. So it's just this beautiful opportunity to, while it's not necessarily the target that the DNC sent, this is one of their most exciting events. Like from the top down, they are so excited that Greenville is going to be a part of this HBCU tournament and MLK weekend because we are reaching so many young people. So that day, quite frankly, the tabling can be from 12 to 7 if we want to, if we have enough volunteers.
Right.
We're allowed to stay the entire run of the games for the tournament. So again, it's really just how many people can we get in place to help us spread this information that weekend.
And we have 4 games listed here, so I don't know if they're gonna keep going after that or anything, but it sounds exciting. And then Monday on the 15th, there's a march to the well, a unity parade at 11 o'clock where people will be meeting at the city hall downtown. And so we'll need volunteers to table that event as well. So Travis Reeder, our very own Greenville native, has also been helping us set up all these events on Mobilize so that we can sign up for this. So if you're interested in signing up to table one of the events, it should be on Mobilize already. If you don't know how to get, onto Mobilize, you haven't signed up for something on Mobilize before, let me know. Or Travis know, and we can get you connected to be able to sign up for what you can help with your table and needs. In addition, Travis has set up a daily virtual phone bank so that we can reach all of those voters that we need to reach and make sure that we mobilize them to the polls for February 3rd. So every single day, we set it up from 9 to 8. So 9 to 8. Virtual phone banking, already all set up. All you have to do is, again, go into Mobilize, say you want to do it, and you will be sent that virtual phone bank link as well as some instructions if you don't know how to download Minivan or a VPN ID. So it's all in there.
And you have a script too.
Yep,
So
and
all
that's the
this
next thing I was gonna
information
say.
that's on this flyer in front of you is more or less in a phone bank script, right? We're not guessing in January. We're gonna give them exactly what they need to know. And this is a real opportunity. So as much as we're being measured on getting folks to the poll, we're being measured on our voter contact, right?
Mhm.
I mean, the DNC is looking at us as having this first in the nation privilege to turn out the vote, really despite some of the factors that we know we're up against. So, you know, again, Spartanburg's trying to call 3,000 folks. Greenville has even more than that. So we really see this as an opportunity, especially for a room like this of tried and true volunteers to help us mobilize earlier than likely we ever have in an election year. And keep that energy
Right,
going.
and I will say, I mean, you're not convincing anybody of anything except for to please vote at the primary. You know, we're not talking about one candidate versus another.
That's right.
We're just saying, hey, Democrats, come out and vote at the polls. You know, if you need a ride, let's figure it out. Let's just do it.
And I'll note too, and we'll share this information with our phone bankers as they register. We have talking points on folks who are asking about voting in the Republican primary. I get that daily in Spartanburg County because we historically have not had many Democrats. I'm sorry. We have talking points for folks to message around people asking about voting in the Republican primary. We get it in Spartanburg all the time. I'm sure you're getting it in Greenville too. In this particular year, it is so critical that our Democrats and our independents come out and vote in that Democratic primary. With all due respect, there are not going to be enough Democrats voting in a Republican primary to like change Trump country around here. They're just not. And it's actually going to count against us this year, right? It quite literally will on our ability to retain this status as first in the nation. So that might be one of the most critical things that we're trying to educate folks on, because it actually truly makes a difference. What primary you vote in 2024. So there's also an opportunity. We have a new relational organizing app called Reach. A few folks, Amanda's been trained. I'm looking at Melissa here. Melissa, wave your hand. Melissa's on our team too. She's a Greenville friend. And this is an opportunity for folks just like you and I to actually share more information with our neighbors, right? With a group of volunteers. If you're canvassing, if you're at the HBCU tournament tabling, it gives you information. People can look up their voter information and you can start to collect a little bit deeper information on them with regards to their voting preferences. If anyone is interested in taking a training on that Reach app, we will offer a couple this week, especially if you want to volunteer this weekend. I will make sure Laura and Amanda have information on those trainings. I suggest anybody that's interested to do it because we're going to be using this much more prevalently heading into November, which is the beautiful thing. We're guinea pigs. The DNC just launched this app and we're one of the first states to use it because we're going first. So we get to influence how it's being used as well. We're that feedback loop for them. So the more folks using it, we have about 100 folks in the state already up and running on it, the better. And I know Greenville has such a tried and true group of volunteers. We'd love for y'all to join that as well. So those opportunities will be offered weekly through January, but we'll certainly make sure you have time to use it or to learn how to use it if you're going to volunteer this weekend. But again, I think between Greenville and Spartanburg, there's probably 25 opportunities to volunteer leading into February 3rd. I'm sure y'all need poll watchers, just like we need poll watchers, right? There's all of these opportunities to really support this primary. And we can't thank y'all enough just for hearing us out as we're really building into the strategy.
She's wrapping
She's wrapping me up. She was
I am, but stay there because I want to take the opportunity to ask for 3 questions, if there are questions. I'm on my way. And I ask everybody to please use the microphone because that way the people on the Zoom can hear you. You have. My question is,
just shared a great deal, which is wonderful. You've got a lot planned. And I see a lot of enthusiasm in the room. So how do we have a list of all that so we can just tack it and go at it or be part of it? Is there a place we can go to see all of this? Because I did hear some of that.
Sure.
A lot
You
that's
have
gonna
a
be happening.
sign-up sheet. You know,
So that everybody will know.
I think the most succinct place is to go on mobilize.us because that's where they're programming all of the events. But we can also work on trying to make maybe something for the website that just has a list of everything for the GCDP. We'll work with you on that.
Laura usually.
Oh, sorry. We can work on, you mean the list of kind of like volunteer opportunities and all of that? All of the websites that we mentioned. Oh, with Mobilize and Reach, sure. We can make sure that's up on one of the sites and is being shared in newsletters as well.
Other questions?
I have.
Any other questions?
The website, and I still can't figure it out.
What website are you looking at?
I'm looking at Mobilize.
Do you have an account?
Well.
How about I come over there? I will.
What,
Get a limited.
let's not, we'll get some information on how to get to Mobilize for everybody.
Yes,
And, because I put out a after lunch email,
okay.
and that's a good place for,
And I just want to mention too, as we're doing these volunteer trainings, Mobilize will be part of that, right? So
scan these.
the opportunity to learn about Reach also provides the opportunity to learn about Mobilize.
Last question. Oh,
Evelyn's walking around with the Mobilize.
okay, give me your chance.
On the Mobilize, if somebody's looking at Mobilize now, I believe that what you have to do is limit your search to just Greenville. And that's when a bunch of our opportunities will pop up. But again, like Laura said, that follow-up email will probably be helpful if that's hard to find.
More questions? Guess you told them everything they need to know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, Catherine and Amanda. We'll definitely get the information from you. We'll put that out in the email that goes out probably Wednesday. And I can pretty much promise you that Democratic Women will be hands-on in getting these things staffed up and doing everything we can to turn out everybody we can for this effort. So thank you for all you're doing. Okay, now the fun starts. I do want to take a second to recognize some people. So if this is the first time you're in a meeting, you've come to a meeting, I love that. I always feel like an alcoholic. Hi, my name's Laura. I'm a Democrat. But if this is your first meeting, you've got a little God Bless America sticker, and if you would stand up so we can see our first timers. Thank you guys for coming. We hope this won't be your last time. We also have a bunch of new members since our last meeting, so not sure how many new members are here, but if you are a new member since November, if you could stand up, or if you're a new member and this is your first meeting, if you would stand up, that'd be great. Thank you. And I do want to take a minute to recognize our elected officials. Chandra Dillard is here. Hi, Chandra. Chandra is a warrior for us.
Yes.
Former Representative Leola Robinson Simpson, I saw come in. And she's not here, but Dorothy Dow will be sneaking in at some point. If the worker people ever get out of her house. And if there's anybody I didn't recognize, elected official I didn't recognize, please feel free to embarrass me and stand up. No, I didn't miss anybody. Okay, cool. All right, so now we're gonna move on to our main program, which begins with board reports. We don't have a first vice president, so I will give the programs report pretty quickly. And I'll be followed in this order by Valerie Brooks Madden, our treasurer, on the financial report, Peggy Schatz on membership, Evelyn Nocella on community action and advocacy, Jen Boffey on outreach, and Linda Director on events and fundraising, and Linda Hartman on legislative. And following the reports, we will have the much awaited for, I know that's why we have so many people today, the opportunity to tell us what you think about how we're doing, what we're doing. Give us your ideas about what we should be doing, what you like and don't like, and let's keep it clean. It's very fragile today. Okay. On programs, we had some really strong programs this year, in my opinion. We brought important speakers from across the state. We had an SCDP chair, Crystal Spain, Emerge Executive Director, Jessica Bright, the League of Women Voters education lobbyist, Janelle Rivers, Josh Malkin of the ACLU, Vicki Bringer from Planned Parenthood, just to name a few. We worked hard to ensure that our programs had an advocacy component. So you not only learned something that was important, but you also got actionable information, something you could do to make a difference. And we saw the results of that all through last year when we did phone banking on those education bills and worked very, very hard for our two municipal candidates, Dorothy Dow and Michelle Shane. And you showed your support by showing up in significant numbers every month, just as you're doing this month. Some of you may not realize this is the first time since I've been here that we had to open the room up this sliding wall. So, yeah, give yourself a big hand for showing. So that is great, and I hope that we have to do that more and more. When we lost our first vice president in May, we were lucky enough to get two very dedicated members, Nicola Bold and Roxanne Courtenay, to work with me on a programs committee. And through their efforts, this is really good news. We've actually got programs scheduled through June. I know, it's incredible. But also I want to point out, we are maintaining our flexibility so that we can respond to important things that happen. We're not going to be ignoring something critical that is happening that needs our attention, or we need to know more about just because we have scheduled something in January or June. But we do have a good outline, and I just want to give you a couple of a little overview. So in February, we're going to welcome my friend, Mike Roosevelt. In addition to the lofty title of being my friend, he's also a retired CIA analyst. Yeah, right? He worked the Russia desk and was Biden's daily briefer during the 2008 transition. So he's going to talk to us about how foreign actors can influence the 2024 election. And with a little bit of luck, he may even give us some insight into why so many classified documents seem to go missing. I think you're really gonna like him. In March, Pat Scales, who is a highly recognized state and national figure in the Freedom to Read movement and a resident of Greenville, will be our guest. And we're also going to be looking for a few members to help us out by reading passages from three to five banned books. So if you are willing to, and we won't pick the most salacious things, I promise. But if you are willing to be a reader, let me know. It's just signed you up, Kat. Write that down, Evelyn. Kat. Okay. Reading some salacious passages, yeah. In April, Melody McFadden, a 3-time gun violence survivor, will join us to share her story. She is also a former military, a gun owner, and makes no bones about she wants to have a gun. But she doesn't not want everybody to have a gun, and she's got a hell of a story to tell. I've interviewed her before, and it's very moving. This will help kick off our efforts to turn out significant numbers. Please help in this regard for Wear Orange Weekend, which is June 2nd through 4th, when we, honor gun violence survivors, and also, put a light on the importance of gun violence prevention and legislation. Also that day, Phil Ford, whose company has been hired to run the coordinated Priority 6 campaign, will be here to explain how that's going to work and how we can work together to make it work. And every English teacher out there, yes, I know there are too many works in that sentence. In May, Tina Belgi and Tiffany Santagati will be here to discuss affordable housing and the impact of gentrification on the foundational communities in Greenville. And in June, Susan Ward, president of PFLAG, will be our guest for Pride Month program. So I have a thing here to mention about how I hope we have to use the bigger room at some point in the next year, but we already have to do that, so I don't talk about that. If you have any ideas for speakers or programs or even one-offs, we're doing a one-off January 18th with Josh Malkin, who will be with us on a Zoom, talking about how we can, helping us understand what the Secretary of Education's proposed book censorship / banning regulations mean ahead of the State Board of Education having a hearing on the subject, and how we can potentially interview that, influence that. So, we can do some sort of extra things if the situation arises. So please, if you've got any ideas, take the QR codes on your tables and snap them and send us your thoughts so we can discuss them. Okay, so now we're going to start with the board reports. And we're going to start with Valerie Brooks Madden, our treasurer. And yep, you got the slide up.
Well, thank you. Treasurers, when they start talking about money, don't usually get a warm welcome. And hopefully next time I will get an even much warmer welcome. But I am Dr. Valerie Brooks Madden, and I am your treasurer. So this is my first time doing this in this organization. And this is my, going into my second year. So I am also looking forward to getting to know all of you. So it's good seeing you. And so if you ever have any questions for me, usually I'm sitting back there with Miss Sadie, getting all knowledgeable about all of you in this organization. But here is a summary of our finances. So you know that you have to have a budget to run any type of organization. So a budget basically is an estimate of our income and our expenses over a specified period of time. In this case, we're looking at 2023. And as with any budget, you usually come up with a proposal for what you think that you're going to do. And then also for then the expenses come, then we actually have an actual of what we actually took in. Next slide. Now, on this slide, I hope I am showing a summary of income and expenditures. We finished the year a little short. And so the board meets every month, and every month of this year, I will be expected to give a P&L so that we can kind of stay on top of our expenses and of our things that we want to do, things that we can't do. And as some of the board members can tell you, I'm not afraid to say no, that we can't do that. And usually I get my arm twisted by Laura sometime and end up doing it. But I am committed to being a little bit more firm this time. So next year, when you see this report, you won't see a negative. Next slide. On this slide, I am showing some of the things that we did for our fundraising efforts. And in our fundraising efforts, you see that what we did and the outcome of some of the fundraising efforts. And then you will also see that we had a Christmas event this past year. This event was, usually some people say low cost, no cost. I'm gonna say it was no cost. So, and that you can thank the board for wanting to do this. And then we thank, Linda, director, and her team for putting this together. But I think that it was a great great event. And hopefully you all that attended enjoyed, the event. So next slide. All right, so this next slide, I think, kind of sums up, what needs to happen. As Laura has said, we were able to expand the room, and so hopefully we can continue to do that, but we know that this year is a pivotal year. So there are a couple of things that's going to need to happen. We are going to need to increase our donations. We are going to need to promote. We have merchandise that we sell, and sometimes you see the table out there, and I'd like to encourage you to buy the merchandise. I mean, they would make great gifts. They would make great types of recruiting for people to want to join our organization. And then, of course, we have our lunches and all, which you all get to enjoy. But as Linda can tell you, we are on a budget for our lunches. As you know, food can be high and expenses do go up. I'd like to encourage you, though, to purchase the lunch for the meeting, but also I'd like to make you aware that sometimes it's going to be flexible in what we're having to offer because we do have a budget. So that's my spiel and I'm sticking to it. So I tried to make it short and sweet. So thank you so much for listening to me. And I think at this time we will have a report from membership with Peggy.
Hello, I'm Peggy Schatz. I'm your membership chair this year. Is my slide there?
Yeah.
Okay, so we did very well in 23. We have 256 members. Compared to 204 in 2022. 126 of those were renewals from 2022. And then I went through, I think about 60 of them were people who renewed from 2021, 2019. And that left us with, we have about 70 new time members last year in 23. Anybody here who joined for the first time in 2023?
Me.
Woohoo! So we do have 7 lifetime members in the room. We have Peggy Baxter. We have Linda Hardman somewhere. And our newest lifetime member, Edith Chu, so. There's also Anita LeBold is a lifetime member who often attends. And y'all remember Ann Funderburg? I think the other two are Margaret Paler and Anna Smith. So if you see those folks, so they're automatically renewed. Okay, dues cover the calendar year according to our bylaws, and they are due February 1st. We will accept your money, however, anytime throughout the year. In fact, if you join in October, that's when we start renewals. So if you join for the first time in October, which many people did in 2023, they're not only a 2023 member, but they count as a 2024 member. So we already have over 70 members in 2024. So we're doing pretty good there. And you notice our new dues structure, 25, 50, or 100. You know, those donations that Valerie just talked about. This is a good way for you to give us some money. We're gonna have a big year. We're gonna have some good candidates. We're gonna have a lot of work to do, and we'll need some money. So when you sign up to pay your dues, consider, I think almost everybody, half the people paid the $50. Several who have signed up already have paid 100. So we're doing pretty well there too. Thank you all for that. And there will be new badges for this. Anyone who's paid their 2024 dues, there will be a badge waiting for you here at the meeting in February. That's February 13th, I think, is a second Monday. Now, please keep your lanyard and your little plastic thingy. That's a big help to us. The new one will just fit in front of this one. I have a 2024. You can don't throw the old one out. I would put it in your safe deposit box. I think it's going to be. I'm pretty sure it's going to be collector's item. I know. I know 2024 will. And the last thing I want to say to you, as members, do get involved. Also, I talked about people, we need people for programs, membership. Okay, so next month rather, there's going to be 100 people coming to get their badge. I will need help. So maybe we could have an A through L list and an M through Z. So I always need help at the front desk. I always need help with, if you want to contact lapsed members or something like that, that'd be great too. Nothing really big, something small, easy, just a big thing to help. And then you see the other, I tried to list all the meeting, and all these people, these board members will be up here and they can tell you what help they need. But do think about getting involved with one of these committees or all these committees, especially the next committee, Evelyn's. And therefore, that's my report. Any questions? Well, here's Evelyn.
Thank you, Peggy. And I want to say, I hope everyone had a wonderful, happy, and restful holiday season, because I think I've been set up for letting you know that we need lots and lots of help. And I know for myself, I was exhausted after November or midway through November. So I know it's taxing and but it's a lot of fun. It's exhilarating. It feels great to help. And I'm here to ask for your help. I want to thank our DEM women members for the hours and hours of work they did, and for miles and miles walked, and for sore knuckles knocking on doors, because it was a lot of work. I also want to thank our brilliant candidates, Michelle and Dorothy. We are so proud of having worked for you. Most activities for this committee, the Advocacy and Community Action Committee, centered on the DEM Women Squad, which provided support for our Democratic candidates in Greenville County. That was Dorothy and Michelle. Through Sign Up Genius, DEM Women recruited volunteers to canvass, phone bank, staff house parties, and block parties. 67 members worked 211 shifts at those candidate volunteer events. Many of the volunteers skipped signing up after a while. I know most of them did, because they knew what was required, where to be, what the specifics of the event were. So that is a very low estimate of the work that people participated in. DEM Women members also worked tirelessly to support the GCDP door knocking and literature drop events. And that wasn't specifically recorded on Sign Up Genius as DEM Women events, but I know there was a lot of participation there. In addition to people who signed up, members who signed up on Sign Up Genius, many volunteers got the call to help candidates at the DEM Women's Luncheon. At our October lunch, we had 70 attendees, and at least 10 postcards were filled out by each of those. So you can do the math. That's a lot of postcards. And it was a great effort for everybody to pitch in and help out one more tiny way for our candidates. By all accounts, the candidates found this support essential to their campaign. Would you say that, Shelley? Yeah, we worked really hard. Priceless. I like that. I'm going to change it for next year. Goals for our 2024 committee include similar support for declared Greenville County candidates who are members of Democratic Women of Greenville County. So we're going to need even more help, because we're looking, right, Amanda, for lots of candidates to stand up. And six. Okay, 6. We're keeping it to 6, but that's 3 times 2. And with the work we did last year, we can count on doing at least that much again, probably more. So we're going to need even more help disseminating election and candidate information, turning out the vote for an increased number of candidates. So we're going to need more committed volunteers for our committee. We're also looking to become more open and responsive to the needs of Greenville County's African American communities. We need new members. We need an awareness of those community needs, and we need to bring in new members. So this is going to be a new focus for this committee, and we're looking for volunteers to help with that. That means going to community meetings, being a presence at those meetings, listening to what those community needs are and reaching out to them and hopefully bringing them in so that they're an active part of our organization. If you're interested in working on this committee, and I hope some of you are, please scan the code on the cards on your tables and let us know that you're interested in working in the Advocacy and Community Action Committee. Before I turn the mic over to Jen for her outreach report, I want to thank our president, Laura, for her exceptional leadership and hard work on this committee, and also for everything else she does. You know, this woman is working. So thank you, and Jen.
Hello. As you may or may not know, the outreach position was a new position created in 2023. So there's not a lot of data from before that time period. So I'm going to share with you what we accomplished in 2023. It was really set up kind of with some conversations when a lot of people say, I didn't know Dem Women existed, or I felt like I was the only Democrat in, Greenville County, things like that. So we decided to try to change that. And that was my job for 2023. So basically our goals were to promote the organization and hopefully gain members. I kind of think of it as planting seeds. For some people, it's just going to know that they're not alone. For some people, it might be a little bit more level of engagement. For some, it might be active engagement, on boards, advocating and things like that. So I had a sweet conversation with a member this morning. It's like, I keep telling people about the meeting, but they're just not coming. And it's okay. I get it that you planted a seed. They know we exist. They might come in 6 months. They might come in a year. They might not at all. They might mention it to their neighbor. So you never know how that's all going to work, but we plant the seeds and help them grow. So this information is based as of January 21st. We started an Instagram page. We started with 0. As of January 1st, we had 671 followers who actively. And if you don't know, or if you're on Instagram, there is a lot of information about what we're doing within Instagram, within the link tree, which is a link in our bio. So oftentimes I will put things on there and say, go check this out, because that's where the actual link and click to participate and things are within that. So we also have a lot of people activating those types of informations through there. So even if they're not a follower, they will pick up based upon all the algorithms, hashtags, all that good stuff, and see what we're doing. Our Facebook page, and we kind of sort of have two, I'll explain the difference, but our actual Facebook page that represents our organization as of January 1st had 785 followers, which is great. We also host a discussion group. This one is a little bit bigger and broader. It originated a few years ago as a safe place to kind of contribute and things like that. It is ours. However, it is open to a lot of different people that participate within them. So that page has 1,700 members. One of the first things we did this year was have a committee that developed a new logo for us. So that was one of our accomplishments. And with that logo, we've been able to convert it into merchandise. The things that you see for sale in the front, some things we give away, but most are sold. So buttons, we gave out approximately 40 throughout the year, 16 keychains, 40 magnets, 6 bumper stickers, 6 window clings, and 2 Tervis cups that we have the Dem Women on. So those are just little ways. The more you wear it, the more you have them on your purse, your window, your car, all those types of things. Again, it's planting the seed. People, I didn't know there was this organization here. So that's a great thing that we've accomplished. We also have our online store, which is a lot more wearable type of merchandise. We sold 1 bucket hat, 3 baseball caps, 1 visor, 2 tank tops, 1 polo shirt, 7 t-shirts, those are a big seller. I think 3 long sleeve t-shirts, a mug, and 2 tote bags. We do have winter items on there right now, and we've got some sweatshirts, some like athletic zip up type of things, and that store can be customized. So, you know, it was our first year doing it. We're trying to see, but we can manipulate and change items that are on there based upon what we think people would want and be willing to wear. So that's definitely one of the pieces for feedback of like, you know what, I would really love a picnic blanket or a dog, you know, bandana or something like that. So, you know, please feel free to mention that. I will probably have to get a few people that agree with it's a great item to put it on, but I'm loving to hear that. We also tried to switch up some of our different ways to become engaged. The meetings are awesome, but not everybody can come Monday at noon for a lot of information. So we do offer it through Zoom and it is recorded and has a link afterwards. But we also tried to come up with some different ways that people can become engaged and not quite, you know, some of this could be intimidating for people at their first time. So we started a book club. We had 6 meetups in 2023. Approximately 25 people attended somewhere throughout there. Some people read the book, some people came for the sense of community. It's very loose and open. We will be continuing those in 2024. We had 2 cocktails and conversations meetups. That was an evening situation where it's just people gathering together to chat about things. We kind of talk about things that are, you know, Democratic related, but it's with the, you know, general easy sense. There's no debates going on. There's no literature being handed out, you know, things like that. We continue being a part of the casual coffees that are happening every month. Those have been a great way for a lot of people to just kind of, you know, dip their toes in and see what we're about. And then as an organization, we participated in 2 charitable endeavors within the community. Not only do we want to give back because that's truly a part of what we want to do, but we want people to see us being a participant. They need to know that this is part of what we're doing. We honestly want to show up in our communities and better, you know, the county of Greenville. So we participated in Hands on Greenville through the United Way, and then the Period Project, which was more of a collection of items, and then we created the bags and donated them. For 2024, we're going to continue all these things and continue to grow and build that. Specifically, you know, as Evelyn was talking about, we want to continue to diversify not only our members, but our boards, and see what ways that we can meet different needs that we're unaware of right now that we're not. So that's part of what we're hoping to do. We'll continue to expand our social media presence. And the way to do a lot of this, again, is through committees. Right now, I book the book club and make sure I can go. And then I'm okay, when can I do a casual coffee and things like that? The more people that I have invested and could actually, you know, host, which all you gotta do is show up and eat ice cream. Like, you know, it helps things like that so that we can do more of those activities. So absolutely, I'm definitely looking for people to be a part of that. You don't have to invent the wheel. You don't have to, you know, it's not a high pressure situation. It's being friendly. It's being, you know, that sense of community. Our goal is to have monthly book clubs as we've done. We're getting more consistent. 4th Monday of every month. We're going to try to do the cocktails and conversations every other month and see how turnout is for that. And then charitable endeavors, we're going to try to do 1 per quarter. So we'll do 1 in, you know, sometime in the first 3 months, second, and so forth. We have plenty of merchandise, like I said. I'm always looking for different ways we can get involved. I know that Evelyn again and Catherine and Amanda spoke earlier about us manning those tables. We would love to get to the point where we have enough people that at the various things within Greenville, we have a table, you know, that we're telling, hey, we need to buy a banner. We need to give out, you know, buttons and all the fun things that we do at these events. That's our goal. We're growing to that. And we're trying to do that in a way that we have the people to man it. We have the things to give out. So the more energy we have behind that, the faster we get there. And next is going to be Linda talking to you about our social committee.
Hi, everybody. For those who don't know, I'm Linda Director, and it has been my pleasure to be the events and meeting chair, which basically means I order the food and make sure everything runs smoothly out there as you come in. We do our best. And hold on. So the idea of the food service was to have everybody have fun, promote community and camaraderie. And it doesn't hurt if we make a few dollars, ladies, which is always a big part of our issue here, you know? So our lunches have mostly been provided by minority-owned or not-for-profit organizations where I can, and also whose values align with ours. I'm on a budget, as Valerie made quite clear, and she keeps me on the straight and narrow, seriously. but it has been my desire to elevate the lunches, provide the best quality food I can within reason, diversify the lunches, and hope, part of the goal was to make the lunches good enough that you want to eat them and that you want to invite people to come and eat them. So create membership and that sort of thing. I'm sorry. So I'm not sure I accomplished that, but the goal continues. That being said, if any of you have worked with food providers that you really enjoyed and that you can recommend, I welcome those recommendations. I run out of ideas, okay? And I do have to say, we have been using the Kroc Center and they provided lunch today. And I think they did a fantastic job, really. Now, we've had 2 successful fundraisers, and I really thank you for that. And I had a blast. I really enjoyed every one of them. I like making parties. And, you know, it's my favorite thing. And it was great for all of us to get to know each other better. I think the Christmas party was really a nice, friendly, happy time. I don't know how many of you came, but it was really, you know, if you missed it, you missed out. And so here's the thing, going forward, 2024 is going to be a really big year, and we really need to raise a lot of money because hopefully we're going to have a lot more candidates. And we had 2 fundraisers this year, but we're probably going to need more next year. And I was thinking that if you all agree, I would like to make the garden party that we had in May a signature event for the Democratic Women of Greenville County. If you all agree with that, you know, I'd like to hear your feedback on it. As long as my house can handle the crowd, you know, I'll do it. So there's that. And then, of course, we need to come up with a few other events, as well as any ideas that anybody has for raising money without having an event, a no-cost fundraising events or method or something that we can come up with. I also always I have to just say, you know, I have people who help every meeting who I could not really do it without. And I just want to mention Kathleen Bitsura and Ann Thompson and Bernadine Atkins and Janet Lomika and Mary Beeble, who always help me every meeting to make sure that everything goes as smoothly as possible. It doesn't always work, but we try. And finally, I want you to know that, so anyway, if I need more help is the point, because people go away, people get sick, people, whatever, can't come. And I always have to have somebody to call that's willing to fill in. So if any of you are willing, it's not hard work, but we need people to do it. Every job is important. You know how that is. So let me know, please reach out to me anytime. And I just want you to know, I really enjoyed my little job. And I really appreciate all of you. And I'm very proud of our organization, of our membership, of our accomplishments, and more to come in 2024. Thank you. And we now have hardworking Linda Hardman, who is going to report on legislative.
But one of the things that I want to say is I'm a novice. I don't know a whole lot about legislative matters. I have to really dig. I have to really research. And so, you know, I'm just like you are. I'm trying to find out exactly, you know, what's out there every month, what our crazy legislature has come up with, and trying to translate that so that we can all understand it. I do want to say this too. There are times when the political waters are turbulent and give us a sense that things may be out of control, just a few times. Democratic Women is just the lifeline that we need to tether ourselves to. A number of years ago, When I joined Democratic Women, I was seeking just that sort of safety net and affirmation. Democratic Women does more than offer us just a place of solace and a like-minded community, though. It takes a proactive stance and calls us to jump right in to get involved, to make a difference. That's what you're going to be doing. You're not just going to be coming to meetings and nodding your head. And I mean, that's convenient. And I probably would do the same. But I realize, and you do too, the importance of getting involved and making that difference. Veteran members like Anita LeBold and the late Ducky Gower were great mentors and role models for me and encouraged me to jump in. And, you know, from there, several board members' positions later, I'm committed to being an active part of an organization that gets things done. So, yes, Democratic Women meetings are wonderful social events, but we are way more than that. We're movers and shakers who are politically transformative, and we're good at it. We're very good at doing those things, but we need your involvement to keep it moving, keep that needle going forward, and become great at it. So your board members headed by, way over there, I can even see over this monitor here, the amazing Laura Hay, are hardworking visionary leaders, but we need each of you to sign on with us to make a real impact. Don't be a bystander to history. Independently, we make ripples in the water, but together, we're a tidal wave. And when you leave this meeting today, you're going to be, you know, ready to get out there. Donald Trump's not going to get elected. And why? Because you and me are not going to allow it. We're not. And it takes organizations like ours that are excited and committed, you know, one by one, we're going to stem that whole movement. They don't have any idea what's ahead for them. They have not even a clue about the power that we have. And we're all over the United States, but we're an important part of it.
So now on to the open mic portion of the meeting. We're gonna start with Helen, as she. So we got two mics, so Evelyn, you're gonna stay on that side and I'll stay on the other side. You gonna record?
This is recording.
Where you record? Okay,
Yeah,
Peggy's gonna take the mic. Okay. So Peggy's gonna be on the other side. And everybody who's got a question gets a free
Bumper
Dem
sticker.
Women bumper sticker.
Oh, okay, well, I'll get two because I have two.
Statements or questions? Statements are good.
The first one is just a statement. If you're trying to, since we're trying to increase the membership, I'll just throw this in. I think in the last 5 years, I've invited 4 people and they all joined and they come and all I said is, would you like to join the Democratic Party? And they all said yes, and they came. So, you know, everybody should just ask people. And then a good contest, you know, we love a contest, whether you win anything or not. But you could say something like, take all of the members or whoever wants to participate to see how many people you can invite in a period of time. I would say a year. And the person who invited the most people, maybe they don't have to pay dues for the following year.
Well, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah, and the last point.
She's just recording it. So you know.
You have a
And
paparazzi.
the last point is, I was just wondering why it took so long, because this is actually the first time I've heard anything publicly about the primary that's coming up. And after we fought so hard to get South Carolina first. Jamie Harrison knows my name. He doesn't know me, but he knows my name. And when he took the position that he has now, I probably was the first one who sent him a long letter. Now that you're there, you need to make sure that South Carolina is somewhere near the beginning of the primaries, because had it not been for us, Joe Biden probably wouldn't be president. So that's, you know, why aren't we hearing something? Because if we have a low turnout, you know, I just think we need to have a huge turnout, even if we already know Joe Biden is going to win.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's not. True story.
I don't know the answer to that question, but I agree that we have to, now that we're starting, we have to really pitch in and push this and do everything we can to help make sure that we put what's in the polls. Lee.
I know we're supposed to be asking questions, but, okay. You made me think of it, talking about, how many postcards we got out that day. I think as a rule, we should have 10 postcards for each person on every table at every meeting. And while we're sitting here yapping and this and that, you know, do 5 of them here and take the other 5 home. So if every single month we can send out, you know, 500 to 700 to then maybe even 1,000 postcards, and that adds up over time, and it's something that makes this meeting today productive.
Good idea.
Okay.
Next.
Any, come on now.
Talk about.
I'm sure not everybody thought we did everything great.
Tell us about the
that
meeting
got somebody
tonight.
now.
Tell us about the meeting tonight.
Oh, tonight is the legislative delegation meeting. They meet once a quarter. That's all of the elected officials for Greenville County. It's at 5:30, I believe. And it's at Greenville Tech in the Student Success Center. So there's that tonight. It's a good opportunity for us to go. We don't have that many elected officials, but it's important for us to go and show our support for, especially for Chandra, who is such a warrior. And on that same note, Senator Carl Allen was going to be here today, but he got held up, but he did provide a whole bunch of pens, so feel free to take one of those with you when you go.
Thank you. Hard. I read the New York Times every day. I'm lucky because I'm retired and I can do it, but I keep hearing about. Sorry,
There you go.
I read the New York Times every day. I keep reading about how Hispanic people in our communities aren't excited about voting for Democrats anymore. I don't speak Spanish. I wish I did, but is there some way we can reach out to our Hispanic brothers and sisters? That's my question. Thank you.
I like that. You can answer that question.
Well, just for the standpoint, there is this Hispanic Alliance. And we try to participate as much as we can in their events. We don't want to talk about politics. And right now, okay, I did send a request to announce, if I could announce to them the upcoming February 10th event where we're doing candidate training. To see if any of those would be interested in getting involved. But other than that, I think we have to go to our Hispanic members to encourage their friends to join. We just kind of take a look.
It's an area that clearly is one nationally. It's not just local, but nationally needs a lot of work, a lot of personal connection, communication. So it's a good point. We're working on that. Diversity is a big issue for us this year. Anybody else got something?
Oh, Laura, I just have one point to add about.
Gotta use the microphone or Zoom people won't hear you.
I was just gonna say that our South Carolina Democratic Party's second vice chair, Myra, is actually working really hard on the Hispanic caucus, and she definitely needs some help. So if there's anybody in Greenville who's interested in helping her with that, that would be, a really great way to continue to think about ways to engage the Hispanic population.
It's a great idea. How do they do that? How do they get involved with that?
They have a Facebook page. It's active.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you could either look up Myra's information on the SCDP website, or you can just email me. But Myra is really responsive and very enthusiastic about this cause. So I think it's scdp.org or com. It's .com or .org, but anyway, Myra will be on there, and her email address. She's really easy to reach. But again, if you have problems, just let me know.
Thanks, Amanda. Okay, over here, making Ellen run around. Good, I gotta get my steps in somehow. Right into it.
I would just like to say that, our dear Joe Biden has really done a great job this year, but a lot of people don't know all the detailed things he's done, and it's remarkable. If we could have a message as Democratic women, wherever we go, that we can say that this is what he's done, think about it. And have that succinct, have it all the same, and people will listen to that. We can't just be rambling on about nothing. We need to have real meat in a message that this is why Joe Biden needs to be reelected. And I think if we have that, it will really help us in reaching people.
That's a really good idea. Messaging is crucially important.
Yes.
Next. No more questions? No more, or they can be statements. I'm looking for people to tell us things you'd like to see happen this year. Things you'd like us to do more of, things you'd like us to do less of. All of that, so doesn't have to be a question.
Well, thank you so much. And what I have is a pure statement. And that statement refers to what our former president, Barack Obama, had to say this past weekend, because he and many others of us realized that a lot of folk who are Democrats at heart are not motivated to vote in this election. And one of the things that Barack Obama said this past weekend is that we have to get out in the ranks. He said those people who work for the Democratic Party are gonna have to get out of the party office. And I believe that for us to really be successful this time, we've got to realize what is at stake. And a lot is at stake. We can talk about Trump not winning, but if you look at the polls, if we continue to sit back on our laurels, I think some bad things will happen. So I am committed to working as hard as I can with you and others in the Democratic Party to make sure that we get out in the ranks this primary, this election. And if we get out there, the people will follow us. Because the people, including many of our Hispanic friends, they like what Biden has done, but that doesn't help them at the border. Now, does it? They're still jacked up at the border. And that's what we have to do. We have to deal with those issues that affect the people, and you know how to do it. You have that fine background in marketing, and so do many of us. So that being said, I would just like to encourage us to remember what Barack Obama had to say this past weekend. Thank you so much.
One thing Barack Obama said that I will never forget is, yes, we can. Yeah. We can, and we will if we do.
Well, the priority 6.
Closer.
Can you hear me?
No.
Oh, I just wanted to, I just wanted to refresh my memory in terms of the priority 6 candidates in Greenville County.
because we need to put our eyes on the prize. So Amanda, will you refresh on them? Thank you.
Okay. I want to know, I want to make sure I'm specifically answering your question. Are you wondering if we have candidates or do you just want me to remind everybody what it is?
Spokesperson, do we have candidates for the federal and the statewide, the candidates in our South Carolina area and Greenville County area?
Yes, we do have three of our 6 candidates that we've identified as our priority districts. So we have, well, one of them is already raising money and getting out there. He hasn't officially announced, but he will soon, and I'm sure he'd love some support. And he's running for Senate 8. His name's Taylor Culliver. He's wonderful. We also have another one who has announced, but not officially. I think she's told a few of us in this room. Shauna Johnson is going to run for House 24. And then we have, of course, John McCarthy, who's running for House 27. Right now, I've got 2 candidates in mind that I'm calling and trying to get the House caucus to help me recruit for House 22 because we know that's going to be an open seat. And then I really want somebody for County Council 22 because Stan Jubilakis is pretty terrible. And he's going to be...
Bye-bye, Stan.
Right? Huh? You can do it. Come on. I'm serious. But he's also going to have divided attention because he's going to be running simultaneously for county council as well as Senate or House. So Shaw's running for Senate. Stan is running for House.
So they can do both?
Yes. You just can't run for you just can't run for state house and state senate, but you can run for county council and a state seat. So that's what he's going to be doing. And we need somebody there. And we're still working on a congressional candidate as well. So the priority 6 effort, try in a nutshell, is we've picked out the 6 seats in the county and we're working with Spartanburg with my sister chair over here. She's got her own 6 seats in Spartanburg, but we're going to have a big time fundraising and supporting these 6 seats for priority 6 and making sure that we can make grounds and make progress where we can. And these are the identified seats that we can do that. Now, I will also say Protect 6 is the second part of this, and that is 6 seats that we already have and want to maintain. So those are, like, for example, just one of the 6, Representative Chandra Dillard's district. So we want to make sure that we protect them. So not to get too in the weeds, but our Protect 6 are going to have access to the same benefits as our priority 6 candidates. So let me just tell you what we're looking for here when we're recruiting candidates. We're looking for not just the same old candidate, first of all. So, we really want women, we really want people of color, not to say we won't support a man like Taylor Culliver, he's wonderful, for example, but we want to do something a little different because we keep losing, right? So if we keep doing the same thing, where are you going to get? We want to make sure we have new, exciting candidates, but because we know the candidate is sometimes even more important than the issues. Now, not just anybody, we want people who are going to raise money because it's going to take money. We also want people who are going to do the work and go to the doors, make the phone calls, that kind of stuff. So I've had like 2-hour meetings with almost everybody who's been interested to talk about what it's going to take, and only hard workers need to apply.
Thanks, Amanda.
Yeah.
We don't file until March.
Yeah, filing not over until March. I'm trying to think.
We don't usually put candidates until the final.
Well,
Because
Announce it.
they can announce, but we don't usually put up a candidate page or show until the actual filing, because announcing doesn't even mean anything.
I think she's asking about information about 36, am I right? And I will say this, there's only a certain amount of information I feel even comfortable putting out there. So that's something that Laura and I'll have to work on and evaluate, like what even needs to be on there.
Right, we need to talk about that.
Since we're not answering the question, I want to talk about two things happening tomorrow in Columbia. In Columbia tomorrow, two awful things are happening in two either committees, or I think one is a subcommittee. In that subcommittee, it is about the legislators thinking they know more than the parents and the doctors of transgender children. They want to limit what can be done for them. And I don't know how much any of us know about that, but a lot needs to be done for these kids who know who they are and are trying desperately to be who they are. It also is going to force counselors to tell parents that their children are transgender, or at least relate in another way to another gender. It is going to force the schools to tell their parents. And these people are doing this tomorrow, not Wednesday when we're supposed to show up down there, but tomorrow, which means we're not really represented the way we ought to be. So the parents that are going to learn about their children being transgender, if they're supportive, great. If they're not, that child is going to be abused either verbally or physically. The other thing that's happening is the constitutional carry. That's happening tomorrow too in a committee. And it is no training, have a gun, and possibly no background check. So we are in a mess tomorrow. Any of you who can contact your people, please do it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. So I don't like to call it constitutional carry. I like to call it what it is, permitless carry. I know Republicans like to call it constitutional carry, but, and we do have a group going down Wednesday to rally with Moms Demand. We have about 12 people from Dem Women who are going.
But they're meeting tomorrow.
In committee, but
Yeah,
you know,
right.
there's still time. Still
Oh,
time to
yeah,
vote.
we've got time, but we
Yeah,
need to get
We
out.
need to get out on it, exactly. Okay, other questions or comments, or how are we doing, Mary? You have a lot of experience with Dem Women. How are we doing? What are we screwing up?
I think you're doing great. You're doing a great job, and we're gaining and getting a lot more activity for sure. Something I did want to address is what we've done in the past. I'm one of the leaders of the reproductive rights in the state as well as locally, but also other issues we've had or events that occurred. Something we did in the past was to make sure we got a bus. And the woman sitting here was also a past president. Made that happen quite often too.
I would
So
not
we
ask.
need a bus to Columbia, so we need to begin to get that, because so many of us want to participate in this legislative issues that we're hearing about, or we may want to go to an event. For instance, if Biden is showing up in Charleston. But so maybe we could put together something that makes sure all of us who have so much interest in participating, can you hear me?
Yes.
That we can get that going. So I certainly would be glad to help with that. And I may ask this person who knows a lot about it too.
That's a good idea.
I think we need to raise money and buy a bus.
I said before, and probably couldn't hear me, I wouldn't ask Lee to tell us what we were screwing up, because Lee, unlike Mary, would tell me. So, here's your shot.
No, I don't have a thing. I think y'all are doing great. I think the more we welcome people when they come in the door, one thing I used to do was when we had new people, I'd run all around the room and get them to say something, who they were and how they came to be with us. But the more we can, the big complaint I used to hear back in the day was people would come, they'd see a lot of gray hair, they wouldn't feel necessarily welcome, and then they wouldn't come back. And so the more we can embrace everybody new that comes in the door, you know, and retain them, we don't want to churn, we want to build.
Right. Okay, thank you. Everybody.
I don't want to keep everybody very long. People are already leaving, but first of all, we're doing everything we can to attract younger
professional, and or, even younger students to our organization. I do want to speak very briefly about ageism because I'm in that elderly group. And sometimes when people are retired, that's when they have the most time to really dedicate to an organization like this, where you have to be really active to make it effective. And that kind of speaks to the elephant in the room that a lot of people have reservations about Biden because he is elderly. He's in our group. And the thing is, a number of great leaders of the world, I don't know if anybody has ever even heard of Konrad Adenauer, who was a fabulous leader of Germany and helped rebuild it after the war. We have Churchill, who was considered one of the great leaders of Britain. We have Charles de Gaulle. All these were very elderly people. And to be honest, Trump's just a little step behind him in age, and he makes far less sense. So I just don't think that's a valid point there. We need to bring up some of those, counterpoints whenever people are talking about voting for an older person. This man is brilliant. He has absolutely the best experience in foreign relations, and he's doing fabulous things as far as infrastructure and helping us, the citizens of our country, in everyday life. So don't forget, those of us who have some gray hair are pretty powerful. We're going to be out there working every single day. And we're still trying to work really hard to get some of those who are like, if they see your gray hair, they vanish. So here we go. Let's get started.
Thank you. One thing I would say is in the newspaper world, we are not allowed to use the word elderly anymore because elderly is not an age grouping. It's a frame of mind. And there's nobody in this room who I think is elderly. When I see the way we work and the things that we do and how on top of things everybody is, I don't see any elderly people around. But your point is still well taken. Okay, it's 2:00. If anybody didn't get a chance to tell me what you think, send me an email or call me. You guys all have my number. I want to thank everybody for coming. I'm sorry we ran so late, but I appreciate all of the input. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you next month.